Hearing from James Comey.
Investigations are going to reveal something he thinks will be very, very harmful to him.
Statement, in a word,
disturbing. Is there a possibility that Trump will be impeached? Do you hear that? That buzzing noise in the air? That's the sound of a few million Democratic genitals literally quivering with anticipation. What if Trump is impeached? It's important to first note that the evidence against Trump at this point is still considered super flimsy, and even then, it's still considered the smaller hurdle if you're hoping for Trump to get the boot. So let's break this down. Under the Constitution, stage 1 of impeachment first happens if the committee first authorizes an inquiry into impeachment, which we already mentioned is hard enough as it is because of the lack of strength in the evidence so far. So far, all the evidence is up for debate. Did Trump really ask Comey to back off the Russian investigation, or did he insinuate it? Did Trump really give away intelligence to the Russians, or did he just have a meeting with them so they can all discuss and high-five each other over their mutual arousal of Ivanka Trump? Stage 2. The House of Representatives needs a majority vote to approve the articles of impeachment previously approved by the committee. A 2/3 majority vote is required to convict the president and have him removed. Right now, Republicans hold 238 seats, while Democrats hold 193. That means 25 Republicans would need to be persuaded to vote to impeach Trump, which would be super unlikely because of the backlash it would create for the Republican Party, which we will later discuss.
Awful lot of honkies in here.
Stage 3 would then be a removal vote at the Senate, where another 2/3 of voting is needed to convict the president and remove him from office.
Wow! That's how Terry Tate makes America great, baby!
Justice.
History doesn't give us a lot to go on. There's only ever been 2 presidents impeached, and both of them were able to escape being removed from office. Andrew Johnson was impeached in 1868 for offering amnesty to Confederate officials, and the dick move of vetoing the civil rights protections of former slaves. Typical Johnson behavior. But he escaped removal nevertheless from the Senate by 1 vote. Bill Clinton was impeached for perjury and obstruction of justice in the trial involving his own dick move. Literal Johnson behavior. He was also acquitted in the Senate trial. And then there's Richard Nixon after the Watergate scandal, who would have been impeached and almost certainly would have been removed, but was smart enough to step down himself before he had to walk the streets while an elderly wench shamed his naked body. If Trump ever got to the removal process, considering how it would be the result of his own party turning on him in votes, we can all agree that with great certainty that Trump isn't the kind of guy to just cordially bow to the audience and disappear gracefully into the night.
You can have me.
Will he go quietly? Well, this is the same president during his campaigning that refused to release his tax returns on the grounds that he believed the usual rules didn't apply to him.
Closer to releasing your tax returns? Well, I'm thinking about it.
This is the same president where only 2 months into his presidency, Congress was already freaking out about there being a constitutional crisis over Trump's erratic behavior. This is also the same president who told a body of graduating students during a commencement speech at Liberty University that he believes he is the most unfairly treated president in all presidential history.
No politician in history, and I say this with great security,
has been treated worse or more unfairly.
Which worries me if he is actually serious, or genuinely doesn't know that Abraham Lincoln and JFK once had their heads blown off. With 31 million Twitter followers that get a direct line to his madness, it won't be out of the question to predict that he'll flood social media with rants about being falsely accused and being unfairly treated, even if he is charged guilty. Being the rule-bending, rules don't apply to me guy that he is, stepping down gracefully doesn't look like a possibility for this Trump. If we thought the end of the elections were an end to Trump rallies, being removed from the office will not only rebirth the Trump rally, it would probably have the same chemical reaction that bath salts have to hungry inner city kids. Violence will flood Washington, D.C., guns will be drawn, and faces will definitely be eaten off their faces. Face off.
I say, get used to it, folks.
But again, before impeachment even reaches the Senate level, impeachment itself would spell trouble for the Republican Party, because for it to have gone that bad, Republicans themselves would have had to turn on Trump, and with that, Democrats have a reasonable shot of winning at least one chamber of Congress in the 2018 midterm elections, and of rebuilding their party in state houses and legislatures across the country. Trump's impeachment would indeed create a new faction in the party, the disaffected Trumpists. Remember that in the 2016 election, the real difference maker was a large body of white working Obama to Trump voters that never voted Republicans because they either simply didn't trust Republicans like Mitt Romney, or never offered any help by a Republican to aid the lower middle class. Their thinking would be, we take a chance on Trump, only to then have the party turn on Trump and give us Mike Pence? They'd probably feel betrayed and either sit out next election or return to the Democrats. It's like finally deciding to give yoga a try, and instead of a yoga instructor, Mike Pence shows up and tells all the Syrian refugees to fuck off. Yeah, I stand by that analogy. It's not bad. If Trump is removed, then Mike Pence would immediately take office. What does help the reality of the Trump impeachment is that it is widely known that if there is a vote between Pence and Trump among the GOP, Pence would likely win by a 90% landslide. But how would a presidency under Mike Pence look like? Mike Pence to Trump is like Darth Sidious is to Darth Vader. Darth Vader is just walking around grabbing pussy with the Force, while Darth Sidious sits in the shadows, slowly touching himself while plotting his evil schemes. While Pence definitely shows more self-control, self-awareness, and probably uses a spell check option on his phone much more liberally than Trump. To the Democrats, he is a much more dangerous adversary while in office. Pence has pretty much all the same ideas as Trump, but to juice it all up, he has himself an aggressive religious right-wing agenda that he'll probably push even harder, and with a better chance than Trump to actually achieve. He knows policy and the system better than Trump, and will therefore play the political game much more tactfully than Trump.
You will die.
The silver lining is that he won't have much of a future in office after 2020. His campaign for re-election will be an uphill battle, as the Democrats probably already have multiple attack ads showing how Pence supported and impeached and disgraced Trump. It is in the Republican Party's best interest to try and keep Trump in office. Unfortunately, Trump wouldn't go to prison if found guilty.
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
As for impeachment trials, the verdict does not subject a president to incarceration. The Constitution does make it clear that a separate trial can be opened to try him for charges faced in impeachment, but Pence would probably use his power to pardon him. Although at this point it's unlikely he'll get impeached, we all have to remember that it's only been a few months in the Trump presidency, and the door has already opened to all of this shit. Sit tight, everyone. There's still a few more years to go.
Hey, baby! You can't go around grabbing people willy-nilly, son! That's just creepy. What kind of locker rooms you been hanging out in, Donnie? Huh? Oh. Hey, Bully Bush.
Hey, thanks for watching, everyone. This is a new channel and we have a lot of topics that will hit all across the board, so please subscribe and stay tuned for some great content. Being a new channel, we are holding a contest where the first 2,000 people to like and share this video will be entered in a chance to win a counterfeit Apple iWatch. It looks like a counterfeit Apple iWatch. It feels like it was made in China, but it's really a Lance Armstrong rubber band that nobody wants anymore. Thanks for watching, guys.